I may know, okay, hey, I'm not sure exactly what Sonnet 12's talking about, okay? But maybe I can break it down into these sections, okay? So I might look at it and think, okay, there's some 4 sections. Well, I wonder what it's about, okay? Now, maybe, let's just say, I do have a general idea, and this is a good guess with Shakespeare, is you know more than you think. So, what's maybe this about? Well, maybe you said, oh, it's about time. Okay, and then you go back and look at thought 1 and 2. Okay, so if it's about time, maybe it's saying something specific about time here, something specific about here. Here's maybe building on thought 2 and 1, and then we come to the end. Okay, well, maybe, let's just say you didn't understand really anything except this line, and nothing against time scythe can make defense. Ooh, wow, scythe. Ooh. Okay, so Grim Reaper coming here? So maybe you thought, time. Okay, we can't escape time. Okay, well, that's interesting because maybe up here I think of a flower. So I'm starting to connect some different clues here, and I'm looking at it in different sections, right? So section 1, thought 2, thought 3, thought 4. Now, the next step in Shakespeare is definitions, and this is where definitions can be helpful. So they often can, help you clarify the thought you maybe have or bring new light to it. So, Sonnet 12, we'll go through some definitions here. But if I was going to mark it as a sonnet, I did it. I did the A, B, A, B, right? And you can kind of see how I marked out the end rhymes here. Okay? But I'm mainly going to be focusing on definitions on this page. So when I do count, talking about the chimes of a clock. So we have to imagine here, right? Some of you maybe been to Europe, these great medieval cities, looking at the chimes of a clock when you hear it. No, people didn't have time, right, on their wrist, or anything like that. How did you, know what time it was? You heard it through the clock. Well, now you have that. See the brave day sunk in hideous night. Dread as to how hideous is maybe translated. When I behold the violet, right, and I put violet as the faded flower. Prime, right? Prime here seems to be more referring to peak. Now moving to thought 2. Erst, that means formerly. Summer's green, that's talking about crops and leaves. Sheaves is putting in like a bundle. So they put it in a bundle or gathering up together. Then born on the bier, this is a cart that you'd use to basically carry the crops. Right? So some of you, I think of here, Monty Python, bring out your dead, bring out your dead. So if you haven't seen that clip, you can look it up. But, they're carrying up, bring out your dead. It's like they're coming through the town, and then the people drag out their people and they throw them on the cart. Same thing, you would basically haul all of your crops that you have there. Now, this one, not a lot that we could talk about. We could talk about waste here, more of waste could be multiple meanings, but desolation. Going down to the bottom, though, the key one, what's meant by breed? Well, I think for us, this is important. It's not talking about dog breeds, but it's talking about children. So, brave, also, challenge. And him, what's the him? Well, death, right? We have death, right, kind of personified here, right, as a human. So those are some important definitions. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the actual thoughts, and this is what I want you to be doing as we go forward analyzing some of the Shakespeare monologues. Going to the next segment. So we'll go thought by thought. So we'll trace the chain of thoughts. Okay, so thought 1, I labeled it, and this is kind of the blue is my title for it. Nature's time. Now, one way of putting it might be like this. When I look at time passing, whether that be the bell tolling, the day turning to night, or the seasons passing by. Now, I did put yearly and age, and I'll talk about why that is in just a second. Yearly and age, well, when I behold the violet past prime, I'm talking about seasons of flowers when they spring. But also, and sable curls all silvered over with white. Well, sable curls all silvered over with white. I'm thinking of hair maybe turning white. Makes me think of a beard, right? Someone getting older. So I put age, right? So the fact that we go through these seasons of life, right? Not just seasons of the year, but seasons of the life in line 4. Now, I did put a different kind of rendition of kind of how you could describe it. You know, sometimes when I describe the thoughts, you might just say, when I look at time, so you use the kind of I as if you're the poet. Another way of doing this is saying the poet of the sonnet, right? Here's the town bell, sees the sunset, touches and sees, right? The flower faded or the beard coming in, right? So this is obviously paying more attention to the sound and the senses. Now, moving to thought 2, nature's time. So the poet shifts from looking at kind of him looking at these things like, you know, the bell tolling, seeing the sun, fading flower, and he looks at nature. And what he sees is that, right, we have empty trees, which used to shelter the animals, and now he sees all the summer crops bound up and carted away. Okay? So, in other words, right, before, I have nature's time twice. Oops, I didn't realize that. Okay. Nature's time. Okay. I think I would label this one up here actually just time, right? I think it's him becoming aware of time, and then he looks more specifically talking about nature and sees, in other words, the clock playing out there. Okay? Now there is a little bit of interesting that he says, born on the bier with white and bristly beard. That seems to be connecting back to silvered over with white, right? So the reoccurring image here of someone getting older there. Okay? Well, this all builds to thought 3. Okay? Thought 3, I labeled fading beauty, okay? And I said, then. Well, why then? Okay, this is important because if I was going to ask you a question about the sonnet, it's about how all that tilts forward, right? It's leaning forward. It's like when I look past, whether that be the bell tolling, the day turning to night, or the season's yearly age passing by, right? It's leaning forward. It's breathing forward. You're waiting for that next part. When I view the empty trees, which used to, or see the summer crops bound up and carted away, okay. Yes, when you do that, there's supposed to be you're waiting for that statement to come. So that leads us to the third one, okay? And that's then. Shakespeare loves to do this. Then, okay, or we'll see some other ones later. He'll switch from you or I, maybe a character, but they'll make certain switches like that, which is a clear chain of thought kind of marker. So then, I, the speaker of the poem, question your, and I put a question mark there, because then the thy beauty do I question make? Well, who's the thy? I'm not sure. Okay. Well, okay, it's probably the beloved of this. Okay. Then I, speaker poem, question your beauty, which must wither. For all fair things fade as fast as they spring forth. Now, obviously, I had a little fun here with the F alliteration here, but okay, right? When I look at all these things, right, I see beautiful things, and they fade. Right? Go and get a picture of your parents. You might, dang, Mom, dang, Dad, looking good. Hey, you look good back in the day. What happened? Right? Hey, well, fading beauty. Hey, you guys soon will be saying that about yourself. Don't worry. Hey, so in a few years, you'll be looking at, oh, goodness, wow, look at me. Lost all my youth. Okay. All right, I'm having too much fun. Okay. Now, going to thought 4. Okay. Thought 4, I put it as children versus time, and I'll explain that. But nothing can fight against time except our children when death comes. Nothing can fight against time except our children when death comes. So, the idea here, the poet, right, the sonnet has been building. First, looking at the changes we see all around us, and then looking more specifically the changes in nature and the changes in humans, that we fade just as well. We go through these seasons. So the conclusion is, right, there's nothing that can escape it. Right? And right, the only thing that we can is when it comes to take us, right, our children will live on. Right? So a very amazing poem about kind of seasons, time, everything, all of those things. Okay? Now, what else do I want to say about that? And we talked about the origin and development. We already talked about that, kind of highly structured, subject and theme. Okay. Okay. So what you're going to be looking at next, okay, is you're going to select a sonnet to research. Okay. So the big idea is I want you to find a poem you're interested in. Okay. Go through these steps. Okay. Answer the questions there. Okay. I want to go back to the presentation here. Okay. But main idea here is, okay, looking back, okay, want to summarize kind of our principles. Okay, but if we think through what we're working on today with this, okay, back to sonnet, forgive me, sorry, I know it's taking a little bit of time. Okay, going back, the whole idea I said is, right, okay, you may be initially confused. You read through it, don't get it. It's okay, but maybe you have an impression. Maybe you have some idea. And I always ask, did you get maybe an idea here? Okay, well you didn't, right? Then let the structure help you. Okay, first thing I would do, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna make a mark here. I'm gonna make a mark here. I'm gonna make a mark here. I'm gonna divide it up. I know there's a bunch of different thoughts. Now, maybe I can figure out one of those thoughts. Based on that, okay, then I can move from maybe moving to figuring out one of the other thoughts, or moving to the bigger picture. What's the big idea overall? So I'm using the structure to help me. Right? The other thing is, right, there's lots of resources. Shakespeare, it's a puzzle. Okay? And sometimes you gotta get help. Okay? Next thing is, okay, put it in your own words. Try to express it. Okay? You can see what you can get, okay? And you can try to get closer. Now I'll tell you, these things, okay, did not come to me immediately. This has taken time, and it's taking even years. I've looked at this poem multiple times. So, it's not because I'm brilliant. Shakespeare is not about being brilliant. It's about reading it like poetry, reading it and giving yourself a chance. You can understand more than you think. Okay. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you have a good spring. Thanks.